Hi, this is Tanya from Love Buddha Tarot, back with the cards of today for the 15th of December 2016. Right, okay. Today there's a strange feeling coming through with the cards. There's quite a few cards. They all dropped out, and they obviously the messages wanted to be said. But there's amidst all the chaos, there's a calmness, and we have four cards today. There's three beautiful ones and one not so nice one. In fact, no, one horrible one. I can't even be nice about that. Now, what I want to say before this is we're coming to the end of this year, and this year has been a toughie. We all know that. We've been together all through the way with this, and like I say, your messages and things like that. So I know what a lot of you have been through. Although this year has been faced with massive challenges, there has been a huge rise, like a growth in our spiritual self and a massive growth within ourself as well. And we often grow during our hardest times. These are our biggest growth periods. And when we look back on them, I know times in my life there has been quite a lot of crazy shit happen within it, but I realized at the times when I was at my darkest, that was when I learned so much about myself. And if I could turn the clock back, I wouldn't change a thing. Even the hard times, because they have all led me to the led me to understand myself, and given me strength as well, so that that you can tackle other things. So what I want to say with this, I think what is coming through this morning is, yes, there may be shitty times, you may be experiencing stuff that you don't really want within your life and stuff like that, but please try and find that silver lining, because there is a one there. Nothing is meant, it happens by chance, and the universe never gives us what we can't handle. Okay, so it's just a little bit of reassurance there that's coming in, and I really feel just grounding ourselves and centering ourselves will help us in these next coming weeks before we go into 2017. Mid-January, it's going to calm. That is what I've been told. I've spoken to the sort of spiritual teachers, and they have said the same. So it's like I say, this too shall pass. It won't go on forever. In 5 years' time, you will look back at this, and it's like, all right, okay, yeah, okay, that's cool. So look back at times in your life where you have been challenged, where things have looked very bleak, and look at where you are now. You did get through them. So everything does come to an end eventually. So I think that just needed to come through there this morning. So I'll start with the cards. We only have one of the tarot cards today, but we have three Osho cards because three of them fell out when I went to shuffle. So the first card that we have is Temperance. Now, when this card comes in, it shows that there is balance needed. Everything is out of kilter at the moment. If I would recommend anybody having a Reiki session or something like that, because there's a lot of misalignment going on at the moment, which is natural, with the way the energies and everything have been. And it's saying with this patience as well. So a lot of times when we get all confused and we're facing challenges and stuff, we act hastily, or we think, right, okay, that will solve the problem, and we do something that doesn't. It actually makes the problem worse, and we're in a worse position. So this is just a time to please try and keep your emotions in check over the next 48 hours, I feel. Don't react straight away. Take time to sit with whatever you're feeling, to ponder it, and then try and come up with a solution. Because I feel if you rush in hasty, there may be things that you regret with this. So this card is saying, bring this patient in, just be still. And by bringing patience in and bringing balance back into your life, there will be more harmony actually achieved. I know the Christmas time, a lot of people get all craziness, don't they, about this one day that's meant to be that spectacular, and it's all very top show. there's a little boy who is local to here, and a lot of my friends have fundraised for him over the years, and his parents have just been told that he has 2 weeks to live. And, to have a child and to know that, and think about what that family is going through at the moment, think about what the families in Syria are going through at the moment, and to them, will this big pressure of Christmas actually, seem as important to them? So really try and, get out of your own way at the moment as well, and yeah, things might not be all a bed of roses, but things could be a hell of a lot worse as well. I feel that's what's coming in. And I think by thinking this, not trying to put anybody on a guilt trip or anything like that, what I'm trying to say is like put things into perspective, and a majority of us are healthy. We have people around us, we have money in the bank, and we have a roof over our heads, and these are luxuries that some people don't actually get. So like I say, with this, just it's really just slow down and come into center, because at the minute it's feeling like a bit like a Tasmanian devil. Everything's just rushing round and and all this craziness. So really just take time to just center, to ground yourself, and to look at what you have got, look at what is going in your favor, rather than what is not going not going in your favor. Okay. So when we fight against something as well, we put up this resistance, and often resistance is not our friend, and what we resist persists. So, sometimes we do have to take action as well. But like I've said, make this actions that are thought about, When we let things take over us as well, this can completely shift the dynamic within us, and this can cause us to suffer. But by by looking as an outsider or from a bird's eye view, look at our problems. Are they life threatening? Do they need to be sorted this second? If they don't, actually just put them together and, look for solutions rather than focusing on the problems. If we focus on the problems all of the time, we get lost, and this is when we have all of this chaotic. If we look for the solutions, and even if it's just, right, okay, I need to sort that problem at the moment, that is important. And then the other problems can wait, and they will be sorted accordingly and in time when you have the time to them. So look at what is desperately needed to be sorted, and look at what can be left for another day or something, Once we try to work around them, we change the vibration, and they're not as scary and not as consuming. And things actually then flow a lot easier. If we have a look in this, look, she's flowing there, there's still magic around. Look at it. When she is grounded, this is where she is rooted. The universe is there supporting her. There's this fire in her belly there, and like I say, there's this water that is nourishing her. So it's mixing the two components here. So what this talks about as well, this card is balance, is to look at energy. Now, people laugh at the word energy, but energy is what we actually are. And there are good energies and there are bad energies, and often when energy isn't distributed equally, or when we are given energy and somebody is taken more than we want to give, or somebody is not given back, this can cause an imbalance, and this is when we get this discord, So what this is look at where you are putting your energies, look at where your energies are being taken, look at where you are giving your energies, and look at where you are taking energies as well. Are you taking a little bit too much energy from somebody, or are you giving too much, and somebody else is taking it? And really try and bring this into balance as well, because this can actually leave us depleted. So this card is saying that what you are doing at the moment is you are seeking a much greater balance between your inner and outer world. our inner world can often be fine, you know. We know within our inner world, because if we're listening to our soul, if we're not working on ego, if we're listening to our soul, listening to our heart, you know, we know that we are inner balanced, you know, our inner is balanced. But often that is different with our outer self, you know, the outer self sort of, you know, clashes with that sometimes. And this is saying, you know, you are, this year has been all about searching for a higher meaning in life and our purpose as well, you know, like what does it really mean? And we have made the transition. This is what all of these changes have been about, this transition, you know. But what happens when we make this transition is it causes a big clash between the old and the new. And this can make us very, very confused, you know, and we can maybe not be sure on which direction to take, you know, and we can forget what is actually truly important to us as well, you know. So if we try to detach a little bit, you know, this is just to try and take a step back from it all, take a step back from the madness, and, you know, this can help us see it clearly. When what was coming in there when I was saying that, they were showing me, it was quite funny actually. They were showing me a flower, you know, and that flower has gone through a growth process and it's beautiful. But that flower can now go back to being a seed. It was once a seed, but that seed was broken open and, you know, it grew and grew and grew. And it probably grew against different weather conditions and adverse conditions, you know, snow, rain, whatever, sunshine. So it's all these different things have helped it to grow into what it is. But there is no way that flower can go back to being that seed now. That growth has happened. So, you know, it just needs to stand there and be beautiful and shine. That's what I think was coming through there. I don't know if flowers shine there, but it needs to just stand there and do its job. So what with this, right? Okay, once you use this bit detachment that I'm saying, you know, to take this little step back, you will find that pain, conflict, distractions, you know, they will all lessen, and in turn your stress and your anxiety will lessen as well. So really look inward here. Take out external forces and think about yourself. Think about what your goals are, what your aspirations are, where you would want to be. You know, if you had a magic wand and you could make all of the outside circumstances fit what you are feeling inside, think about that, you know, because this is when you will start to be recharged as well. And there is nothing to fear here. You know, remember I've said, I mean, you know, I said the other day, fear is false evidence appearing real. You know, there's a friend of mine actually says it's like fuck everything and run, which is not the way to do it. You know, you can't run away from things because they are always still there. You know, I have a massive thing with that, and it's like wherever I run away to, I always find myself. You know, so like I say, that isn't going to work. So fear does not work in this situation. And, you know, this is all part of the process. And without it, change could not occur. You know, without this discord and without this movement, change could not occur. But when we allow balance back into our lives, this allows us to make better choices. We're not making choices on panic. You know, we're not in panic mode. We're not trying to please other people. You know, we're making like sort of calculated choices that we have thought about that will lead to our joy and our happiness and our growth, you know, which is our life's purpose, you know, and within this, our life will become a lot easier. So please try and just bring some balance in today, you know, to center, to just be, and, you know, to just, you know, bring the balance back, get the balance right. I think was that Depeche Mode that sang that? That was the song that just came in my head there. Get the balance right or keep the balance right. I'm not sure. So right, that is the tarot card. So I feel that is the overall message. Then when I went to pull the Osho card, 3 actually fell out together. So it's like, right, okay, I need to read the 3. And the first one is so beautiful, okay? And this is ordinariness, this is called. And this card is very, very simple, but it does have a powerful message with it. And it asks us, as I've just said, to take a look at the things in our life that we take for granted. You know, we may be complaining about certain things, But if we look at them in another way, we realize that, we do have a gift. Life is a gift to us. And if we look at the figure in this card, she's alone in nature. I mentioned nature is our best friend at the moment, especially with all this crazy energy. Get in nature and nature will ground us. She's strolling through a meadow there. And although she probably will have problems in her life, because nobody is problem free, it's just how people deal with them, but if we have a look, she's came over the hill here, she's came over the hill. So this is it. She's actually done a first hurdle, and at the moment she's not thinking about her problems. When you are in nature and when your surroundings are beautiful and serene and quiet, it's very hard to then think about your problems in the same way. When you are in the eye of the storm, that's all you're seeing, because it's sort of like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, where there's tables and chairs and everything flying round. So you cannot detach from it then when you're in it. So by taking time out and going into nature where everything is quiet, you can surround yourself by riches that money can't buy. But it's also like a meditation as well. Nothing monumental is happening, but it's just taking time. This card as well, like I've just mentioned in the first one, is saying, don't rush to do anything, take this time, What she's doing is she's gathering flowers, and then she will get on her way. But she's just, it's like they've just come in with, it's taken time to smell the roses, So this is what's needed today. There's so many of us within life, and how the society depicts to us, and we fill our time with work, and then we buy these nice things. Then we don't have the time to enjoy them because we're working all of the hours to pay for them. So, these people have these lovely, lovely cars. They spend a fortune on these cars, and the only time they use them is to actually drive to work and back, or they have these lovely homes, and the homes are empty most of the day because they're working all hours God sends to be able to pay for that lovely home as well, or people are doing that much of what is expected of them from other people and trying to please other people that they make themselves miserable and they have no time for themselves, and taking time for yourself is not selfish. It is essential. It is absolutely essential, So this card is saying, do you fill your time with things and stuff to stop yourself being alone in your thoughts as well? So do you use this as a distraction rather than actually coming down to center and seeing what is really going on, because when we are alone with our thoughts, this is when our truth always finds its voice as well, So another thing, what it's saying with this card is, like, when our world seems to be falling apart, we've got to take this time, go for a walk, listen to some music, be alone. And in doing this, you will actually see that things are not falling apart. They are falling together, things are coming together, and this is just, it's like, there's the stuff happening, but things are actually falling together here. So when you do this, you become you, not who somebody's telling you to be, not who you feel that society, is saying that you've got to be this person. When you take this quiet time, you become you become one, and you then become at ease. I traveled Laos a few years ago, and it was very, very, very poor country, but the people there were so beautiful. And one of their sayings was, a simple life is a happy life, and by living a simple life, where you don't, we have this pressure to earn so much money, to have all of these things, and all they do is give us more problems, so by stripping it all back and just taking the necessities, what we need, and yes, we need a little bit of money, but necessities are, we need happiness, we need joy, we need love, we need all of these things in order to to live an enhanced life. You know, a big, massive television is not going to make your life happier. It might in some sort of crazy way where you think, all right, I've got that. But all you're going to do is get sucked into the craziness of other things on the TV telling you that you need this and you need that and you need that in your life in order to be happy. You know, when we strip it back and go to a park or go to a river and just sit and see, you know, this is when we realize what we truly have. There's a friend of mine is actually living in Peru at the moment, and he put a video on yesterday, and he's actually playing this flute by this waterfall in this like huge, beautiful canyon. And it is so simple. And to me, you know, somebody could give me the winning lottery ticket or they could give me that, and I know which one I would get the most happiness from, you know. So when we have a simple life and when we live in this way without all of the crazy distractions that are going on, without ego and without materialism, this is when we find our true fulfillment and when we find our peace. So again, this is bringing the balance back in. So two beautiful cards then. Then we get to the middle card. This is the one I don't like, and this is the one that I feel is the cause of stuff like this. This could be society, this could be people around, this could be whatever, but this is what I don't like. So, and everybody knows I love the Osho deck, you know, I really do. And sorry, I'm talking so much this morning, there's so much coming through. But I really, really don't like this card. And in all the years that I've been reading the Osho cards, I shudder every time this one comes out. I just really don't like it. I don't know, can you see it there? It's like, oh, you know, I don't like it. And this card is morality. Sorry, I couldn't even say the word there. Now, it's not having morals that I have a problem with, you know. I have those myself and I have very high ones. But it's the way in which they're used within this card. And if we have a look at that card, there is such a coldness there. And it's almost like a prison if we see this there. And this card is called the Queen of Clouds, which is the Queen of Swords in traditional tarot. And within this, she sits there rigidly, you know, and sternly, and she's taken up the full image. Now, this behind is like, it's like a nuclear bomb, you know. And we know with nuclear bombs, what they do is they cause immediate and delayed destruction, you know, and devastation. And in this card, you know, it's strange because when I look at it, it's sort of, the queen in this reminds me of like some sort of mafia boss, you know, like sitting at the head of the table, something like out of The Godfather or something, sitting at the head of the table and giving out orders. There's no heart there. If we have a look, you know, this heart is where the heart base there, it's empty, you know, and there's no heart there. It's just like a cage. You know, we can't even see the eyes there, which this indicates that this is not coming from the soul. You know, the eyes are the windows to the soul. And within this card, there is no soul there. You know, just a tight, pensive mouth, you know, and tightly clasped hands. I mean, can you see that there? It's not pretty. So within this card, what it's saying there is that this morality, this queen of clouds, forces people to do things, and this is through fear and not love, because there's no flow in this card at all. There's no energy for life. There's just a severe judgment and a feeling of hardness here. So whether these judgments, this card is saying, whether these judgments are applied to ourselves or they're applied by others, they keep us from experiencing the beauty and the serenity that lies within. I mean, look at the difference in them two cards, you know, even the colours. We are conditioned, you know, to believe what is right and what is wrong. We are told we are a good person if we do this. We are a bad person if we do that, you know, and we are often judged on, you know, our actions or things that we've done rather than who we actually are as people. You know, when we break through this cage of conditioning and reach our own true hearts, this is when we can begin to see life as it really is, you know. And there's a lot of people within life and they tend to see the bad in every situation. They can pick up a negative with anything, and this in turn emits negative energy. And this is because they are constantly judging, you know, because they believe that that gives them control. It keeps them locked, it keeps them rigid. They have this polarized view of how life should be. They see it in black and white, and they show contempt and put cages, to keep themselves and other people confined in, So it's like they're imprisoning not just themselves, they're imprisoning other people in the process. Now, there is other people who see the good in everything, and you feel this positivity when you're around them, and you notice the difference there as well. And they see that every bad situation has a silver lining, like I mentioned before. They're free from judgment of themselves, and they're also free from judgment of others as well. And this results in them flowing, and they have a positivity, and the world to them is full of colour, which this card is lacking. So this. I mean, who is it? It says, was it Bukowski that said, when you see a free soul because you feel good around them? Very good. And instantly we know this, even if you're not experienced in connecting with energy. Think about certain people. You can be around certain people and you can go away and think, God, I feel worn out. I feel terrible. And it's like they're psychic vampires. They suck the energy out of you. You can be around other people and you can be there for 5 minutes and instantly you're uplifted and you're feeling good. And this is what energy is, So when there is judgment, when there is hardness, when there is coldness, this is when we don't flow. And when we don't flow, this is when we don't feel good, So when we become like enlightened, and the more we are opening up spiritually, which we've done massively this year, all of us have, it's been a huge, huge growth spurt. So when we become enlightened like that, when we ascend, we become aware, and we then start to give kindness and compassion to people and to situations. What this does is this frees us, and it frees other people as well. Now, Wayne Dyer, I loved Wayne Dyer, such a dear man, he says that when you judge another, you don't define them, you define yourself, And look at people who are always calling people others. They've always got something to say, that's not nice, let people be. It's, that's the best way to be. So today this card is saying, look at judgment and a moral high ground in your life as well, because sometimes people like to take the moral high ground because this makes them feel important. They feel like they're winning in a way, and what they're doing, then they're not. It's just another control mechanism. So look at this today, and it's like, are you judging others, or are you controlling others, or are you being judged and you being controlled as well? Life is never black and white, and if you work from a heart base, then there is never any right and wrong. If you are working from your heart, then there is no right and wrong. So if anybody has a problem with that, then that is their problem and not yours. So like I say, I'm going to put this card down now because I really, really don't like it, So, right, okay, get rid of that. And the last card that came with the Osho deck is another one that's beautiful. So like I say, we've had that one little blip in there, but it is surrounded by other nice cards that I feel if you take the messages from them, it will sort of diminish this judgment in some way. So this is the other card that came out next to it, and this is a beautiful card, and it's called Letting Go. And when this card comes in, it's like it's a call for you to recognize that something is finished and something is completing. Now, this is what we've been going through, this year with all the moons and everything. It's like we are going into a new life. Our old life is ending, and it's the sort of, we were there, and then suddenly now it's like, oh, right, okay, this is it. I've got to walk through that door or whatever. And this card is saying, this is the process of letting go, of shedding. Now, this moon that we just had on Tuesday is the final purge, the final shedding, before we get into the energies of 2017. So it's actually not surprising that this card has came up, and sometimes it's the last letting go, which is the hardest. So this says that, whether this is a job, whether this is a relationship, whether this was, a home you once loved, anything that might help, that might have help define who you were in the past, So this is saying it's a process of letting go. And this is something, we can't do this when we feel fear, because when we feel fear, we cling. And often these are to like worn out threads of something that we know that gives us, it's like a false sense of security, and doing this, we create more fear, and we cling even harder, and it turns into a tangled mess of insecurity, unhappiness, and anxiety. It is not, if you are in a secure place, you do not feel, unhappiness, anxiety, and insecurity. You don't. They don't go hand in hand, So this as well is telling you, like, look where you're feeling that. That is not where you should be. So there is a sadness when we let go of anything at all, something that has been part of us, something that we have grown with or whatever, to let that go is sad, but we need to allow this sadness, and we need to, allow this moving on as well. And we need to stop clinging, because when this happens, when we've got to let go of something, it is because there is something much greater for us, if what we need to let go of was great for us, then we wouldn't have to let go of it. So this is about, moving on. Our new life is coming because that is where we are going to thrive. We are going to thrive better. We are going to, find our soul's purpose, which is what this year has been about, as I keep mentioning. So, there's a whole new dimension coming for you. Things are waiting there to be discovered, and it's like I said before about this flower. The flower kind of go back to being a seed. So it's like you're past the point of no return now, and gravity is starting to do its work. If we have a look at that raindrop, gravity is doing its work. So what you can do, you can't stop against gravity in the same way you can't stop against the universe. So what you need to do is just go with it. Remember, what we resist persists, so you just need to surrender, and let it go. And this will liberate you. It may hurt you, and, there will be fear involved, but, by regretting not letting something go at this time, that you should have, this will eventually hurt you and haunt you for years to come. This might be a painful process in the present, but if you do not do this, years down the line, you are still going to be hurting from this, So this is sort of a like ripping the band-aid off, ripping the plaster off, it's going to hurt, but it will then start to heal straight away. If you keep that plaster on and just keep taking little bits of it off at a time, it's gonna, whatever's under there is gonna fester. It's, when you get, sorry, I'm just seeing such a horrible image there of, when you get a scab and the scab gets water in it and it just goes all mushy and horrible, and the pain is still going to be there when you take the band-aid off, and the pain will probably be worse as well, because now the scar, the scab has got infected. So sorry, that really horrible images. I hope none of you are having your breakfast at the moment, because that wasn't very nice there what they were showing me. So this is about just ripping the bandage off, and feeling the hurt that comes with it, but knowing, that will allow things to heal. It will allow the air to get to it, and this is when things will be better. So like I say, letting go is painful, and especially when it's something that we've been, attached to, something we love or something we've loved, But what we need to do here is see that by letting go, we are affirming to ourselves that we lack nothing. We have everything that we need. You don't need anything, to be you. You don't, you just need you. And you need to follow your soul and follow your intuition as well, and if we look at this card, I mean, like I say, we've got the ripple of where the drop has fallen, and it's a very poignant moment, this, and in surrendering, like I've said, and slipping off the leaf, the droplet there does lose its identity of what it once was, because it joins the vastness of this water below. But look, we've got the little sparkles again. This is always where it's something it's something destined, Whenever you see sparkles in tarot, I always feel it's a little bit magic, And this, this was probably scared before it fell, because it's on the verge of the known and the unknown. So, like I say, when we do change when we go through these transformations, or when our life does change, we do lose a bit of the identity of who we were in that part of the life, but we never experience loss without growth. And the growth that we will have with this, we will become much greater and much stronger and much more self-aware through this experience, So we may see this as a setback at the moment, but this is actually a release, This is opening the gate for us to venture through and to start to find ourselves again, to find out who we truly are, to remember who we truly are. Because a lot of times when we're living in this morality and we're living in this, we forget who we are on a soul level, and that is what's important. The 3D world just gets clouded in it. We are souls, and we are here because we have a soul's purpose, and when we are living in our soul, this is when we feel joy and happiness, and this is what we are meant to do. So like I say, this is about finding yourself again, and you won't be the person that you were. Once you've been through that storm, you are never the same person, but you are a better person, and I can guarantee that. And I will not in any way, I would argue till I was blue in the face with anybody, that once you have come through that storm, you are not a better person, and you don't have a better understanding of yourself, of others, and of life afterwards. So if anybody wants to take me up on that challenge, then so be it. I've just nearly spilt my tea there. So again, this makes way for better things to come in, things that will fuel us, things that will nourish us, as well. And what we need to remember is change only happens when it's needed. If everything was hunky-dory, there would not be changes, So like I say, this may be a painful time. It may be hurting. This is our final purge of the year, and find the courage within you, to carry on your path. The pain will lessen with time, and remember, everything has a shelf life, and what you need to say, and what Spirit are bringing in with this, is by letting go, you are letting things be as well, So by letting go, you are, they say let go and let God, and by letting go, you are surrendering, and you will be rewarded with that as well. You are letting things be how they're meant to be. So, a bit of a somber feeling with them, a bit melancholy. That's what I'm feeling with these cards today. But I think if we take the emotions out of it, if we take all of that, there's actually quite a beautiful message in there. There's a calmness, and I think, like I say, once we achieve this balance, once we feel more balanced within ourselves, once we connect with nature and just try and turn our head off a little bit, once we get rid of this control, this judgment, and this, shop this mafia boss to the police or whatever, and once we let go, this is when the flow will come in. So, like I say, it's strange cards there this morning, but I do think there's a beautiful message, and there's a real, the feeling I'm getting from Spirit here, this is not in any way, they're not worried, they're not nothing, they're there behind you, and they have your back. So please take that today. Remember, don't do anything rash. Just try to be as much as you can. And I'll be back tomorrow with the cards of today. If anybody would like a reading, maybe just to get some clarity to see you through this phase, please get in touch. My details are below. Sorry, my dad's at the window there. I do have to go now. So please get in touch. My details are below, and I will Facebook or email, and we can book a reading in for you and hopefully give you some clarity and, stop them wobbles, stop them nerves a little bit. Okay, so have a fantastic day, and just be ordinary today. Okay, Satnam.